That year, right now, this year, is 2025, but that's not stopping Democrats from eyeing the next big battle, as Axios reports, quote, the 2028 Democratic presidential primary is set to be the most wide open field in a generation. It could also be, prepare yourselves, the longest presidential contest ever. Dozens of ambitious Democrats are looking at 2028 and thinking, why not me? Why not me indeed? Hunter Biden is getting 2028 buzz for dropping F-bombs in a recent interview. And Stephen Colbert, well, soon to be out of a job, so some Dems are saying, why not him?
The Democrat primary in 2028, Kamala versus Colbert, you're voting for?
Colbert.
Colbert.
Yeah, we have to.
He could be president. How about that? How about that?
That kid,
How about that? He could. Like, no Hunter Biden, after all he'd been through, look, we all his dirty laundry's all out there. We all see it. But smarter than his dad when his dad was young. And he was a crackhead.
Okay, how about the former runner-up herself, former Vice President Kamala Harris, giving less than 2 minutes of pre-tape remarks as a headliner of the Voters of Tomorrow Summit in D.C., featured a collection of interesting characters giving some tips on how Democrats can stay relevant. Here is a little sample.
So keep building your political power. Keep building community. Keep building coalitions. Keep challenging the status quo.
My name is Jess. I go by she, her, they, them pronouns, y'all.
Right now we're in 2025, and obviously we know we're on the brink of climate catastrophe.
Our diversity is our strength.
What the fuck is up? Let's go! I can't see anything out of this mask. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
Okay, Jesse, they are focused on climate change and pronouns and furries, apparently. Is that going to win people back?
Was that a panda?
It would look like a panda.
Okay. And was that Kamala?
At the first part of
that didn't look
she
like
was not
Kamala.
in the panda
I noticed something
costume.
different about her face.
She looked thinner.
Is she on Ozempic? Because she looked like she had Ozempic
At first I thought it was
face.
lighting.
Stop.
Do you know what I mean?
I thought
Am
it was
I wrong?
lighting. What's wrong with
I could be wrong.
Don't be ashamed of Ozempic.
No, but maybe she's working
She
out.
definitely looks different than she used to look.
Maybe
but
she's working out. Maybe it's the camera angle.
I want to talk about Hunter because Hunter can't get a real job. And so when you can't get a real job, you do what people who can't get real jobs do. You run for office. And he's got to avenge his father's legacy. And he's got his brother, too. His brother was supposed to be president, and then he could do it. The question is, so how is Hunter different than Joe Biden? Well, he's pro-Ukraine, he's open border, and he's soft on China. The only differences I see is just the other day he says he has no idea what it means to be trans. But actually, I think Joe Biden doesn't know what trans is either. The positives for him, he was in the Navy. It doesn't matter if he was in the Navy for a week. He was still in the Navy. He also can raise money. Now, he raises money from foreigners. He's going to have to do it from Americans this time, but he's shown that ability. He's a new father of several different children, and he's a recovering addict, so you definitely get sympathy. And he is a tabloid phenom, AKA a sexual deviant, and the media loves that. And I could see him coming in and slaying the establishment very similarly to the way Donald Trump did in 2016. Now, I have two recommendations for other random people to run for the Democrat nomination. Chris Cuomo, I think he could do it. And Clooney, my sources in the Democrat establishment say Clooney has aspirations to be president. And I think they both could do well.
Okay, but did you see how Hunter went after Clooney? That was F-bomb Express.
Put him on the debate stage and let him hash it out.
Greg, is it insulting to everyone's intelligence to even be talking about Hunter as the potential future president? Or you think Dems would legitimately consider all
initially
options?
I found Hunter refreshing. I even said that. But Victor Davis Hanson made a good point. Since Dana's not here, I'll make references. I enjoyed hearing what he has to say, but he's not saying what he doesn't want to say, meaning he'll talk about all the stuff that is fun, but he won't talk about seducing his brother's wife and hooking her on drugs. He won't talk about the pardon, the tax cheating, lying on the gun form, the sex workers, the casual disdain of Asians, the way he placed blame on illegals. There's a lot of did I say the pardon? I think I did. There's a lot of things there that he hasn't talked about. And once he talks about that stuff, I think the bloom will come off the rose. I want to talk about the Kamala thing because she looked awful. Look, I as Harold Ford says, I call balls and strikes, and that's oh man. But anyway, maybe it was the lighting. I don't know. But there's an interesting contrast between this youth summit and TPUSA, Talking Points. I spoke there last, was it 2 weeks? Turning Point.
Yeah, or they just spew talking points, so I understand why you...
What is it, Turning Point? What did I say, Talking Points? Whatever, I went there, and I did it for free. Kidding. But when I was there, everybody at Turning Point is, you've been there.
Yeah.
Obviously young, healthy, happy, optimistic, professional. It's like they know all the variables that one needs to create the potential for a good life. It may not guarantee success, but being presentable, being healthy, being civil, and working hard at least puts the odds in your favor that you're going to turn. You got all the bases covered for a good life. Then you look at this with the furries and the body positives. They begin in a hole, and it's the hole of victimhood. They sit there thinking that this world is rife with racism, sexism, ableism, climate alarmism. That's their entire identity. So they don't see themselves as winners, but victims, the oppressed, losers. Nobody wants to help people like that. Nobody wants to hire people like that. If you want to go to that thing, you're going to stay in that thing.
Well, Emily, this is one of the areas that Democrats had a huge attrition with, which was the younger voters, a huge drop-off between 2020 and 2024. This event is supposed to be about bringing them all back. And the voices that seem to be getting the most attention with young voters are very progressive. We saw that here in the mayoral primary for Democrats. But that's not, people would say, the rest of the party or the rest of the real world. If you're catering on these specific issues to young people, do Democrats risk alienating the more establishment, centrist kind of Democrats? They need them to win as well.
And I think they're also focusing on the wrong group of young people. I mean, David Hogg was the one that said, guys just want to have a good time and not be blamed for it, right? I paraphrase. And they're not doing that. They're purposely currying favor with the pandas and the weirdos and all of those things. So there's energy around creating signs and posters and glitter walks on college campuses, but there's a whole movement actually that they're totally denying. I think the fact that we're even talking about Hunter and Stephen Colbert, it just goes to show the left's trajectory. It's like an open mic night instead of an actual serious consideration of what their party needs and acknowledgement of what legislatively this country needs. If they really cared about the policies that I talk about, and I'm not even talking about the extreme radical and the anti-Semitism and the rejecting our allies and everything like that, if they just cared about the centrist, normal Democrat principles that they have in the past claimed to purport, then they would be buoying up current legislators. They would be buoying up current governors and those in office instead of trying to find a grab bag. Who's available? Who's the latest hot one? I mean, who's next? Hunter Biden, he denies a child. Stephen Colbert, he is a failed comedian, and somehow those guys are going to go not only head-to-head with Trump, but head-to-head with the American people who executed that mandate and stood up and said, yeah, no more. And I find, by the way, the fact that these guys who are obsessed with echo chambers on the right are now stealing the microphone of all of the podcasts and the right-wing arenas that they used to scoff at and mock. I find it so rich.
Well, they were very effective. But as you look and try to get ready for the future, Jessica, there's a lot of questions about why Democrats haven't done a full autopsy on the past. New York Times talking about that they're not going to really look at Biden and Harris. They want to look at super PACs and other kinds of things. Kim Strassel has a great piece in the Wall Street Journal saying, people are referring to this, saying it's like going to a steakhouse and then reviewing the salad, if you're not going to actually look at what happened.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know how good the autopsy is, but I don't know any Democrat who isn't spending all of their time actually focused on how we ended up in this position and Biden's decision not to run, consuming all of the books that have been coming out about this, understanding or trying to have a better understanding of, who was actually part of the inner circle, was this conscious? Why did he do the debate? I don't think that we are ignoring what happened, frankly. I can't speak to that autopsy in particular, but for the Young Voters Summit and the furries issue, actual Democrats are focused, to your point, on our strong bench of Democratic governors, some of the most popular governors in the country.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.